Hi there, my name is Madeline Wagner, and I'm so excited you're here to learn how to create these amazing 3D landscapes. I am an artist specializing in ceramics, but I'm also a kindergarten through 12th grade art teacher licensed in Wisconsin. This is a long-awaited tutorial by many. Lots of people asked how we created this, and so that's why I'm here. So whether you are a homeschool student, whether this is being shown in your art room, whether you're an adult just trying something new and creative, I am so glad that you're here and that you're exercising your creativity. Yeah, I'm just really honored that people would be interested to see how we created these. At the end, I will have lots of student examples and just in general different examples. The goal isn't necessarily that you create one that looks exactly like mine. I'm going to show you how to create this little sculpture base, and then I'm going to encourage you to use your creativity because that's what being an artist is. So here are the supplies that you're going to need. You are going to need a scissors, a ruler or straight edge. I recommend a yardstick, but I don't have one and that's okay. Pencil, glue, and then 2 pieces of 12 by 18 inch paper. I am using sulfite paper. That's what I use in my classroom. I find that it's good for all mixed medias. You can even paint on these if you want. I also recommend that you have some scrap paper laying around for some sketching that we're going to be doing after we create it. And then whatever supplies that you want to decorate yours with. So I did Sharpie, I did all these designs all over mine, but you can use paint, colored pencils, markers, really whatever you have on hand. Alrighty, let's get into it. Alrighty, I'm so excited. Now that you've got your supplies, we can get started. In my classroom, I have one of those big ViewSonic boards. So we do this first step all together, and I'm going to teach this exactly how I would in my classroom. So are we all set? Woohoo! Okay, first piece of paper, you are just going to fold in half. Second piece of paper, you are going to leave a little tab. So I'm not folding it exactly in half. I'm going to leave about a 1/2 inch on the edge of overlap. Just like that. Now I'm going to flip my paper over and I am going to fold that tab back. So I tell my students that it almost looks like a little foot ready to kick a soccer ball. Now I'll preface this by saying you could probably do this a lot of different ways, but this was the way that I found worked best, gave me the best result, but if you find another way, that's awesome. I'm really happy for you. Next, we are going to grab our glue. Yes, you could use a lot of different materials to attach things together. I just really like white glue. I think that it is strong, easy to apply, almost everyone has it. I find tape, I don't really like the look of it. Glue sticks I find sometimes aren't strong enough. And I like to apply a bead of white glue and then I like to use my finger to kind of smear it. And I've got some scrap paper over here, so I'm just gonna wipe it off over there. Now I'm gonna take my second piece of paper, the first one that I folded, and I'm going to slide it right on top of the other. And I am now going to take this tab and sandwich that other piece of paper in there. Now, I tell my students to apply lots of pressure at this point so that the glue can really stick together and adhere that piece of paper together. Excuse me. Now, if you use too much glue, it might kind of squish out the sides, which you don't want. So now we're left with this awesome accordion situation, which is exactly what you want. Okay, next step is to unfold the whole thing and to choose one side to draw the mountain range on. We are going to create a mountain range. I like to do either 2 or 3 mountains. In art, there's that rule of thirds, so I think 3 is always a safe bet. You can always change this later though. So on just one end, it doesn't really matter what end, and remember this isn't final, I can always change it. I'm just going to create a nice little mountain range. Mountains look best if they're not really rigid, using exactly straight lines, because we don't often see super straight lines in nature. So this is what you should have at that point, something like that. On the opposite end of the paper, I want you to use a pencil and to make a mark maybe a third or a fourth of the way up the paper. So from the bottom, you've just got a little mark right there, okay? We are going to use a straight edge, and this is where the yardstick would be best. We're gonna use a straight edge to create a line to connect that little dot that we made to the base of the mountain range that we made. Now, I don't worry about perfection in my art. In fact, when we're doing something like a landscape that's inspired by nature, like I said, nature doesn't have a lot of straight lines, so it's okay. It'll look more organic if you aren't too worried about it being perfect. Now this is what I have. So I have this slanted line. A lot of people in the comments of my videos just thought that I took paper and kind of cut at a diagonal. And if you do that, I'm sure you can still get a similar result, but it's not going to have this nice tall mountain range, and I like the height. Now that we have this line, we are going to cut it out. Sorry if you can hear my dog in the background. I think she saw another dog outside. Do you have any pets? I love my dogs. Alrighty, I've cut that diagonal out. Now I'm cutting the mountains out. And again, I'm not super worried about cutting on the line either. I want this to look like nature, and nature isn't perfect. I find a lot of my students sometimes get held back by their perfectionism. So don't allow your perfectionism to hold you back from creating. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to fail. There's no such thing as a failure when you are being creative. So now you end up with 2 pieces of paper. We can see that this is starting to take shape. Do not throw this away, okay? As you can see on my landscape right here, I have a lighthouse, a sailboat, and a moon. That's what I created out of this scrap piece of paper, okay? So because of the mountains, we can't get 2 projects out of that long piece of paper that we folded together, but we will use this, okay? All of my students get to this point together, okay? If you notice that the seam is visible, like on mine, see how the seam is right there where I glued? I don't want that on the front of my piece. So all that I need to do is fold it the opposite direction. So each of these creases that I already have, I'm just going to gently fold them the other way. And now I can't see my seam, and I like it best that way. So here we go. I bring all my students to this point. We all get to this point, and remember, you can always change your mountain range slightly. You can cut more out, you can change the height a little bit, but I find that being able to visualize each tier helps us sketch. So we all have sketchbooks in my class, and I'm gonna show you some of the sketches that I made. These are imperfect, and that's the beauty of them. I tell my students to draw exactly what they see, so I model this on the screen. We start by creating these lines, and those will be the tiers. I say, look at your landscape all folded together, and look at each tier. What do you want to put on all of those tiers? We've got a cabin scene here with some trees and some mountains. We've got the lighthouse and sailboat, farm, desert, but the possibilities are endless. I want you to come up with the most unique idea that you can, and please show it to me. So either on TikTok, Instagram, whatever, I want you to share a picture with me, okay? Once you have sketched, you need to then plan what is going on each of these tiers. I have this a little bit more simple example. Initially, when I thought of this project, I was going to have my students use a different material on each tier. So you could do that. So here I have the Sharpie, then I have watercolor, then I have Posca paint markers, and then all of my students did a value lesson together. We did a value lesson together for this project, and I do have a resource on that. So So I have a handout. If you're interested, let me know, and I'm happy to share that with you. But that goes over using value, organic lines, erasing, highlights, shadows. So it's a really great resource, and these mountains, they learned a lot in there. The other thing I want you to remember is to make sure that your color goes all the way to the bottom. So we talk about how this is a sculpture. So this is something that exists in space that can be, you can walk around this. So we want to make sure that there is color and it looks finished from all angles. You could even get especially creative and decorate the back. I didn't have my students do that because of time, but that would be super, super cool. So from here, I think I'm just going to share some of my student examples at the end and some more examples from me. But I'm so excited that all of you were so excited to make these. Please don't forget to tag me. My Instagram username is Madelyn's, MADELYNS Art, A-R-T. And my TikTok is Madelyn, MADELYNSXART. This is another project that I started doing this year. We called them 3D landscapes. So it's kind of this like accordion sculpture. And we talk about the foreground, middle ground, and background. So here's my example, because I love these Zentangles. Here's like a simple example that I did just to try to get the point across. But then here's some student examples. So this person did like a farm. This person was inspired by Wizard of Oz. Here's a wonderful beach. I wish I was on a beach right now. Here's a spooky vibed one. And this one, I just love the way that they used the markers, kind of in a gradient, and it adds some texture. So the fence and the trees, really interesting. Have a great day, everybody. Back again with some more of these 3D landscapes. This is my example. I literally had way too much fun with this project. Love all the little willow trees in the mushroom house situation. This person knocked it out of the park. Beach theme, but then they wanted to do a volcano in the background. So awesome. So a whole day of this lesson, we did a value and shading lesson in the mountains. So every single one has kind of the same mountain situation. Some mushrooms in the foreground, super cool. Here we've got a surfboard one. I'm not sure if this person finished. Unfortunately, I teach on like a quarter rotation, and so lots of kids don't finish their art. Just maybe they miss a day of school, sickness goes around, etc. But still just so thrilled with the way these turned out. And I'm glad that you guys like them too. So have a great day. Bye.